Welcome to the Smart Factory.
First of all, a very warm welcome to our Smart Factory Learn With Us. And once again, thank you to HP for supporting INKISH and this event. It's part of our DNA is sharing. Part of our DNA is to bring high value to an audience that definitely we are in changing times, not just because of the COVID-19, but in general. So fantastic. This is the biggest session we have had in our Learn With Us, so it's great to see so many people. In the upper left corner, from the public view, we have Chris, who was actually visiting us at the last Learn With Us session, talking about site flow, which was really awesome. And that was only because Tim Webster, he bailed on us that day. He is just below Chris in this. And I think, as far as I remember, it was just because of a stupid dog, wasn't it, Tim?
Yeah. I got to sleep.
Yeah. Then we have in the center up, we have my good friend Ulrich Schätzl. He is from the fantastic printing company in Germany, and the reason why I can say that this is genuine fantastic from my perspective is because it's the only of the three here that I've actually visited. So, gentlemen, you have an invite to send to me to come and visit you as well, right? Ulrich is a fantastic. I mean, you are a tough guy because we did 7-8 interviews at 8 o'clock in the evening, literally a day before lockdown in Europe. So we were very busy, right? Yeah. Then below Ulrich, we have Jon Tolley from Precision Proco. And to be honest, I don't know so much about that. So I think that at some point you will have to discuss a little bit with everybody what you're actually doing, whether you're just here because of your pretty face. And I'm saying that because we joked about that before we turned on the cameras. And then the last gentleman we have, that is Simon Smogur. And Simon, I was just about to say that I couldn't remember how you look because in your LinkedIn profile photo, you have a tux on, right? So what is the normal dress code in your company? Is it to wear like a shirt, jumper shirt like you have now, or is it more like having a tie and suit and everything on?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I do know. As you can see, I haven't got a tie and shirt on. It's a bit old school now, isn't it, to wear a tie? I can't remember the last time, in all honesty, I wore a tie. But the tux with the Print Week Awards.
That's right. So, Tim, you and I, we have been talking a lot together over the past. I think we have known each other for maybe half a year, something now, right?
Yeah, maybe a bit longer.
Maybe a little bit longer, yeah. And it's always
friendship status, is it?
You can say that, but I would say that it's always a pleasure to talk to you because I think you have a very positive personality. I think you have passion, that drive. I think that's also the reason why you have got these gentlemen on board here today, because I think your passion for the company that was once yours, Chris, is now part of HP and gives you a lot of opportunities. And obviously, this is not so much a product presentation. This is way more about how site flow and HP also see the role of the smart factory and the Industry 4.0. I think that you guys have placed yourself in the center of it, and I look very much forward to your presentations. But before we go to your conversation, can you, Uli, you just extended your building, and you have moved to a new facility for shipping departments and that. Are you just keeping growing, or what is going on in Germany?
Yeah, we try to keep going. Morten, as you see, we extended the facility last year, setting up the bookbinding assets, and we run out of space this year due to this investment. Or even if we did it due for the calendar season that is still on 6 weeks a year, and we decided to rent external space to get this the reconcile and the packaging done, and have further ideas with this external space in the future. So we keep going. Yeah.
And when we met each other the first time, that was due to Skodex, and but you have a couple of HP Indigo machines, and you also have recently invested in an IX 3200 from Canon. I know it's bad words here, Chris and Tim, but we have to get the real picture of it. So have you got it installed yet?
No, it will be delivered next Monday. And within 4 or 5 weeks, I can come back with the first feedback. So we are really excited to have this asset on site in the future.
That's really great. Jon, tell me a little bit about your business.
We specialize in personalized retail gifts, which is where the automation side of that comes in. You may have seen in the news that just last week we formed a super group here in the UK, Precision Proco Group, which has merged 4 well-known businesses over here, ourselves, Prime Group, which is the arm for mass customized, personalized gifts. Then there's Precision Printing, that is concentrating on the upload and print model for where the trade buys, and Proco, that's now running Precision Proco, which is the commercial arm of what we do. We also have a technology arm called Client Creative. So pulling the 4 businesses together has been a process that's happened over the last many beers, but at many D-scoops. But really, in earnest, over the last couple of years, we've been working on this. We've known each other for a very, very long time, for many years. We've worked closely together as board members, founding board members of D-scoop. And served on global boards together. We've served on boards at advisory councils for various different businesses. So yeah, work very, very closely with the team for a long time. So and
sounds that you're not trying to get unemployed in a very close time, right?
Never.
Absolutely not. Got too much to do.
Yeah, Jon, when you talk, you should talk a little bit louder if possible, because you are a little low compared to the rest of us. So just say that. But that was a great intro as well. Simon, what are you doing except beside accepting awards?
Well, I prefer to accept awards on Sundays only, to be fair.
You don't have time for anything else, right?
Yeah. So ESP Group, we've got 3 businesses. We've got the commercial litho business, which still is quite a standard format. That's migrating away to produce for online businesses as well. So I would say about 30% of our factory on the litho side of the business now produces for online providers of print, which is great because only probably 18 months ago, that was 0. We've got ESP Smile, which produces personalized products and e-commerce fulfillment for loads of different brands all over the UK and Europe, actually. And that's seen quite good growth since lockdown. I mean, it's been growing well anyway. We only set that up in 2017. And we're already producing over 2 million items year to date, and we've got, I would say, 10 active brands on site essentially. But I expect that we'll probably hit a run rate come the January, February next year of around about 2.5 million items. So that's good going for a couple of years worth. And we also have nearly outgrown our first print-on-demand factory as well.
Of course. That's how it goes, right?
And then exactly. And then we've got an online brand called the Chateau.tv, which is a joint venture business with a famous couple that run a program called Chateau, and it's basically selling personalized branded products associated to the show. And that's 400% up on last year and growing quite considerably every month. So yeah.
So you are evidence of the print crisis, right? That we have no future.
Yes, evidence. Well, I think this is why this is quite a good conversation about automation and etc. Because ultimately the print landscape is changing. It has been changing for a while, and it is moving more online. Whether it's commercial work or whether it's personalised print-on-demand work, and ultimately the only way you can really deal with those businesses cost effectively is being integrated with them. However you want to say that. But being connected to them in a way that you can manage their files and everything that comes with that, deliveries, notes, information, in a way that doesn't mean that it's not going through, let's call it the normal indirect administration heavy process. So you can only deal with these customers if you push and pursue a way of automation, let's call it.
Sounds amazing. Gentlemen, I will leave you now. I am on ears all the time, so I have critical questions after Tim says, okay, this is over for now. So don't hang up on me, because maybe I have the critical questions, right? So stay tuned and take it away. Thank you very much so far.
Before you disappear, I think it's important to say, and I know I've said this to you before, but INKISH TV and the work that you're doing has fast become the single best go-to place for content about the print industry. So I applaud what you're doing and these kind of events.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
Simon, I am getting into your line of business because receiving awards. Last time I got an innovation award from Canon. Now I'm getting a personal applause from HP and Webster. Can it get any better? Can it get any better?
You hold in the highest regard.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tim. I know your sincere and appreciation of this, so I truly appreciate your words, and I look forward to hear what you are going to talk about now, gentlemen. Thank you very much, and talk to you in a little moment, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully this works and you can see the presentation that I've uploaded. It's very simple. So firstly, thank you all for joining us in this discussion today about the smart factory and how HP SiteFlow and how smart companies use HP SiteFlow to automate and grow their business. You're all advocates and super users of SiteFlow and have been for many years. So delighted, as I said, that you could take the time to share some of your stories, share some of the successes that you've had, and the experiences of how SiteFlow has enabled you to scale, grow. In the introductions that Morten was talking about, you've all spoken about the growth that you've had, and hopefully some of that is down to the technology that you use and SiteFlow as an automation tool to enable you to scale up and grow and spin up these new sites and to increase throughput into your plant. So there's a couple of questions. So we've already covered this off. So Morten did the introduction, so no need for that. And we've only got kind of 3 topics today, or 3 areas for discussion around the questions. So the problems that you've previously had, and what problems did you have in growing your business, and what solutions did you deploy to help you automate that, and some success stories and some statistics if you're happy and willing to share those, and how was the transition. So I know they're very open questions. Maybe I throw it open. So what problems, before you had SiteFlow, what problems did you have in growing your business, and how did SiteFlow enable you to overcome that? So did you have problems finding new work? Did you have problems expanding your portfolio, etc.? And
I think I can probably answer that one, Tim, quite well from our side. We've been involved in personalised gifts and print on demand for about 15, 16 years now. So well before the existence of SiteFlow, if you like. And back in those days, there really wasn't any kind of solution that existed on the shop floor. So typically, a print factory deals with one order of thousands. Our world was dealing with, thousands of orders of one, and so any kind of solution had to be ground up built. And we were working with our development team internally, creating our own solution for this, which we did over the course of a number of years. And as anybody knows, and probably Ulrich will testify to this because he's been in the same boat, when you go down that route yourself, it becomes an extremely expensive process. Managing the a technical team for building your own solution, writing your own solution from the ground up, maintaining it and keeping it up to date. So we had a number of challenges, and we knew we had to do a ground up rewrite, and it was growing rapidly. Personalization, it's no hesitation, is probably one of the fastest growth areas in the print sector as a whole. And we were no exception to that. We were seeing triple-digit growth year on year in the business, and we had to do something about it. So we went around a number of sites all around the world that were all doing a similar thing, and good friends of ours, and looking at what they did. It wasn't until we visited Gary at Precision when we looked at their solution, because we knew him very, very well, and he kind of said, well, we're thinking about selling this as a software. Are you interested? And it took me about 2.5 milliseconds to say, absolutely. We are definitely. So we became customer number one for SiteFlow. That was a period. Obviously, we met Chris at that point. I think there was just probably 2 or 3 employees at that point, Chris, if I'm right. It's you guys were very much hands-on, spent a lot of time living at ours, implementing the software, and embedding.
Guys, please turn off your microphones when you're not speaking.
Yeah, no problem. But that certainly allowed us to grow significantly, and it took that headache away from us. Allowed us to just concentrate on producing and getting the work through the factory. Integration no longer became a problem. The speed of throughput, all the things that you get, tracking, tracing, visibility.
Your mic's gone off, John.
There we go. I must have accidentally clicked it. Sorry, guys. So for us, SiteFlow has been a real pivotal moment that's allowed us to grow without any barriers.
Yeah, Sean, this is similar to us, as you probably know. When we decided in 2013 to enter this market, you have been in the market many years before. We discussed internally what are the requirements, tool-wise and method and process-wise. And we started the discussion build or buy, and then we flew over to UK to meet you guys, because you usually in UK the digital printing and mass customization business is a few years ahead than it was in Germany 6 years ago, and I need as well 2 to 3 milliseconds to decide what to do when we saw the former site or the SiteFlow idea and the product, and was a no-brainer to not to license the product instead of building it ourselves. And that's what we did it again anytime, because this was one of the best decisions we took in that business for us.
Yeah, I mean, for us, very similar. Just like touching on the integration side of it, because I think it's SiteFlow's best quality is the actual speed of integration. So we all know, and we've all been used to integrating XMLs on FTPs, etc. Looking at everyone having their own weird and wonderful layouts, formats, structure to their files. And what SiteFlow does is makes it very clear and simple and uniforms with very simplistic way of integrating the very detailed development kit to be able to go through. And I mean, our first customer that we brought on board is is still our largest customer, and we went live with SiteFlow within about 2 weeks. And we were receiving, we went live on the 29th of September. So as these guys know on the call, that's a period where you're starting to heavily gear up. And in 2017, the peak was a bit longer. I think we'd all agree. It shortened a little bit. So peak used to be out to there, or not quite peak, but used to ramp up at that point. So without SiteFlow's ability to integrate quickly, and in all honesty, its reliability through its API, I don't think we would have won that contract, plain and simply.
That brings me, thank you all. That brings me to a question that I was going to ask. Well, a couple of points here. So I'm very aware that we've been talking about SiteFlow, assuming that the audience and the future viewers of this webinar understand what it is. And as Morten said at the start, Chris previously has done another Learn With Us INKISH.tv event, so that's available for replay. And then there's a subsequent session later this afternoon where we're going to be flowing all the way from an online order from an Infigo storefront into Brand Center and into SiteFlow. So I would welcome people to watch that one later this afternoon. So, Simon, you just had a really powerful point that without SiteFlow, you may not have had the ability or the confidence or the
speed, I think I would call it.
The speed to win or to onboard that client. Now, are there other experiences? Has having SiteFlow given you the confidence or the ability or just to be able to go off there and pitch and win and secure work that without SiteFlow or without the tools that it delivers, would you not have been able to win it without SiteFlow? And hopefully there's some answers there.
So we would be. No, I'm not going to say that we wouldn't be able to win work without SiteFlow, because you make your own destiny in life. But it sure is how it helped us. I mean, I would touch on a couple of points there. Jon touched on the expense of developing something from the ground up, and it is expensive because you have to have developers involved. And developers, by their very nature, are expensive. And it's not just a developer. You then need someone with knowledge of print and workflow architecture and all those types of things if you're developing something yourself from the ground up. When you've got SiteFlow to be able to do it all for you, let's just say for that sake, and quite a lot of standard documentation that helps you get through it, on your side of the fence, as in me, the owner of SiteFlow, you don't need those expensive people to create integration connections. It becomes quite a straightforward process, which means you can push it out to other people, and the power is not held within a very few. So I would say that's probably, in terms of winning new customers, it gives us the ability and speed and probably, confidence to integrate them as quickly as possible. And I think now SiteFlow has become quite well known amongst brands. There's lots of brands out there that now have standard SiteFlow connections. They have all their SKUs and attributes set up. And, as they grow and they want to bring on more PSPs, it's quite easy for them to do that. And it's quite easy for the new PSP to take that brand on as well.
Tim, if I may add to Simon's points, from the HP side, first of all, it's fantastic to hear many of these stories from each of these extremely fast-growing PSPs, and hopefully the help that we've delivered over the last few years. But equally, there's two sides to this. There's the supply and the demand side. And what's important to the PSP is being able to onboard quickly, get into production, because the faster you can make that happen, the shorter time it is to actually having revenue flowing through the business and being an easy customer to do business with. But what we're also seeing is that from the demand side, the brands that are looking to onboard to PSPs, I think we've now got approaching 600. We'll do hundreds and hundreds of millions of items this year through platform, and the speed with which they can now roll out into multiple countries is a no-brainer for them. So we're working with one at the moment who's approached us only 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they've got an initiative that they have to be live in around 47 countries in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Now, without a single point integration, they would never accomplish that. And importantly, what that means for PSPs, SiteFlow, the SiteFlow community, is that those PSPs will then receive introductions from HP, so everyone wins. The more brands we've got on the platform, the more volume we can push through to the PSPs. So we're seeing the consistent message actually coming from both sides, the demand and the supply side.
Do you want me to add to that? Or?
So Chris, that's I think it's really true as well for us, because we think we are the first movers. I have been the first movers in Germany for a pretty long time, thanks to my colleagues. and the brands, the huge brands or international brands, want to roll out all over the world and produce really close to the delivery destination, and that was a big advantage for us to get new customers in. Within the functionality or the idea of SiteFlow to integrate new customers pretty fast. Usually on average 1 week we're up with a new customer and have new orders in the production floor, and that's really a proven. It's a proof that within a network you can grow, benefiting you as a PSP, the SiteFlow community as well, and the brands also. That's what we experienced over the last 2 years.
I think it deals with quite a lot of efficiency problems as well once you've got the brands connected. So, let's take when you build something from the ground up yourself, you're constantly having to revisit it again when you bring on a new customer, whether that's batching, so SiteFlow automatically batches and impose, say you receive 40 books in an hour for the sake of this discussion. Anything you do and build up yourself, typically, unless you've created the functionality in UI to make those changes, which is quite a big thing to do, you're getting a developer to come in, change the core code and make those batching changes. But with SiteFlow, again, back to not having to use developers, it's all through the UI essentially. And batching, I think we all agree, is probably one of the main efficiencies that you need when you're producing ones and twos essentially. You want to get as many batches as possible through the printer, as many littlest cuts under the guillotine, et cetera, throughout the production process.
I think the other side of that as well, if everybody can hear me all right, the reconciliation of orders is fairly crucial. So, trying to do that yourself is a nigh on impossibility. What SiteFlow allows you to do is reconcile multiple orders from multiple batches into one consignment to give you the cost savings to the client for postage, etc. Lots of people don't realize just how difficult that is to do outside of a platform like SiteFlow. Trying to develop that yourself is a near impossibility, or it's not easy to do, let's just say it that way. Having the ability to route that with best courier method, etc., most cost-effective method for the client is a crucial part of the platform itself. Shouldn't be underestimated.
No, there's quite a lot of cool stuff you can do as well in SiteFlow now. I mean, in the early days, it was a lot more boxy, I'd call it. Which means it had a lot of standard functionality. Still did all the good stuff that we just talked about, easy integration. But I would say over the last year, it's come on kind of leaps and bounds. With the new API, with calculated attributes, with autoflows. So, for argument's sake, when you get brand orders where you need to add barcodes, you need to have thumbnails. So for dye sublimation, we add thumbnails to make it easier to match, what you're actually producing to what you should be producing, etc. Merging PDFs, so like on hardcover books, you're going to have a blank page at the front and a blank page, or 2 blank pages at the front, 2 blank pages at the back to protect the inners. Those types of functionality, again, all come now out of the box with SiteFlow. And if you've got a HP Indigo, if you're one of the lucky people to have a HP Indigo, you've got this, which is relatively new, EPM mode now, which obviously is a direct saving ultimately. If you can use EPM mode to cut out a click, or let's say half of a click, you've got a direct saving, material saving over and above just the labor and all the elements that we just touched on earlier on, like the shipping. It's probably the most expensive and biggest expense associated to producing stuff in ones and twos. I think you would all agree.
There's some great answers there to some very, very powerful comments, very powerful statistics that you've shared. So thanks for that. As Chris mentioned, we've got about 500 or 600 brands that are routing work to PSPs all around the world. And Chris's example of one of the brands that we're working with, actually a US client that want to reach out to PSPs in 48 countries. And as Chris said, that's going live in the next couple of weeks. So we, as with our HP hat on, are having these discussions with brands and bringing opportunities to PSPs. And I know between the three of you, you're benefiting from lots of these discussions that we have. Has this global network of PSPs that we've built, and now we've got a flag in the map in 40 countries, we've got hundreds of PSPs using SiteFlow and having meteoric exponential growth with new countries coming on every week, new PSPs coming on board almost every day. You see a headline that there's another country in Chile, Mexico, wherever. It's super exciting for us to have all of these PSPs, and it's expanding into new countries. Has this enabled you, because of this network and this community that we're building, has it enabled you to network together, to sell each other's product, to expand into new product categories that historically you might have outsourced and manually routed that to another PSP? Have you used the other side of the solution, the HP Brand Center, to expand that product offering to engage directly with other PSPs? Sorry, that was like a 2-minute question, but
Chris and Tim, you both know me well enough. Ulrich certainly worked very, very closely with over the course of the years, and now mutually do quite a bit of work together. We work on the principle of collaboration.
Yes.
And we always have. That's the D-Scoop ethos. So we work extremely closely with partners in the UK and around Europe and around the world to help our customers grow, because that's what it's about at the end of the day. And we partner up with people, especially in the US, Australia, etc., to localize that production, especially when a client is growing to a point where the volume has become such locally that it deems it necessary to produce locally in country. It makes more sense to do that. So we do that quite a lot, and especially where there might be skill sets where a company is better placed to do that production method at scale for you. And you know, we found that to be extremely beneficial, and obviously Brand Center allows you to do that very successfully with some of our clients. So you know, for us, that collaboration has worked exceptionally well for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for us as well. So it's the same as what Jon told us. Brands are growing, the demand in each country is growing, and as there is at a specific point, there is a time to share the customer, to do it much better in the country. And for us, because especially it is really important to be part of a network, because we are just focused on paper-based products, and the demand of our clients is raising to non-paper-based products, and there are two options: to make or to collaborate. And with the Brand Center and part of the community, we collaborate and focus on what we are really good at. That's the strategy of our company.
I think you raise a really good point there, actually, Ulrich, and it's worth mentioning this, is that SiteFlow doesn't just control the production methods for HP Indigos. You know, it controls our die sub, it controls our direct to object, our textile stuff. You know, you name it. It's the wide format. You know, it's you route work through many different kinds of production methods. I think, you know, overall there's 9 different methods that we produce work by, and it's crucial actually you have one platform to control that, and SiteFlow does that for us.
Yes, that's crucial and it's really important. Yeah, it's a big benefit.
Yeah, we've seen, or I've certainly seen in my time that I've been with HP. I joined in January. The variety of PSPs that are now we're having discussions with that are joining the network. So we've got T-shirts and apparel manufacturers that have taken SiteFlow, where maybe a couple of years ago they wouldn't have envisaged looking at SiteFlow as a workflow tool. And now, of course, they're part of the network, and their products are available not just to the brands that we're having these discussions with, but other PSPs like you. So the way that the PSP network is significantly growing, with a little bit left of center products outside paper print, enables you, as you all said, to collaborate, to expand, to sell more. Comes back to one of the points we were talking about, I think, before this session started, how print companies need to evolve. They need to embrace selling online. The statistic that Chris shared at the start, that 29% increase in web to print businesses, and these web to print platforms, people want to buy all sorts on there. So that single place to purchase a T-shirt, a poster, a business card, a flyer, a brochure, all of these products that can all get routed through Brand Center to SiteFlow PSPs is it's super exciting. On the presentation, on the 3 slides that we pulled up, the last one, so we've covered the problems, we've covered the solution. The last one there is the transition. Have you got any advice for companies looking to transition to more automation? Would you buy it or would you build it? I know the answer there. And
for me, automation needs to be in the company's ethos. It needs to be something that you strive for. It can't be just a project, because the project is never ending. It needs to be something that everyone looks for within the business, and they need to be aware what is possible as well. You know, if you look at return on investments on, let's say, software, printers aren't typically good. Traditional printers aren't typically good at determining whether software is worth something or not. What they're good at is determining whether a machine is worth something or not, because it's got a tangible effect, i.e. can deliver 18,000 sheets per hour rather than 10,000 sheets per hour. But we are living in a world that's a digital age. And if you're not able to integrate or automate things, then you are living in an old world. So I would just say you have to have an ethos. We would definitely buy. You can't build everything, because ultimately, like you said, we're here to print. That's what we do. That's how we make money. We specialize in production of printed items. So you can't make everything. It's impossible. But I would just say to move automation on, and if SiteFlow fits your business, if you're a digital print-on-demand producer, it probably will fit your business. But you have to have the ethos of automation, and you just have to move with the times. Don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, perfectly. And I know all three of you, when we as a team are discussing SiteFlow and presenting SiteFlow to new PSPs that are coming into the network, we offer you, all three of you, as reference points, and you do a fantastic job of. And thank you for joining the session today. You continue to support HP and SiteFlow and the growth, and you're all super success stories in your own rights. And delighted that you could spare your time today to help promote it and talk about the transitions and how it's benefited your business.
I think it might be worthwhile. Well, it might be worthwhile just adding to that. I think actually, Chris, you probably know now exactly how long we've had SiteFlow. I've lost track of the years, and I've gone certainly a lot grayer since. But it's it's been a number of years that we've had that, and I think at last count we put in total 92 million items through SiteFlow, which is a phenomenal number. And that's orders. How is that possible without automation? You just cannot do that. That's the level of growth that we've seen. Like I said, I think before we joined the call, one point in June we did 300,000 items in a day, and that's 300,000 orders. You can't physically do 300,000 orders without any kind of automation. Some of those items were with a 2-hour SLA. That's just an incredible throughput of volume, and to do that you've got to have the platform, the systems, the capabilities.
John,
do it. Yeah.
Were you expecting that volume?
Yes, but it exceeded that volume.
So even if you built it yourself, you would have maybe built it for, let's say, 250,000. Let's say discussion, any infrastructure, because it's not just the software as well; it's the infrastructure that goes along with it. Yeah. Anything you potentially could have been. Not saying you would have, but the potential is when you build something, you build it for a maximum, and if it goes over that, it struggles.
You raised a fantastic point there, Simon, and that's the scalability of the platform itself. With it being cloud-based, AWS platform, it's stress tested to the max. I know Chris and Nigel very, very well, and we through the early days of testing this and stress testing it and going through those problems, we were taking 1,000 orders a second. Yeah. You put that on a standalone server that's in-house, and I promise you, without hesitation, you will melt your server banks rapidly. What OneFlow or SiteFlow, allows you to do is scale that ingest massively.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just the network alone, before it even got to the server, wouldn't be able to cope.
No, exactly.
I have to. Tim, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I also want to ask some questions, because it seems that you are scratching each other's backs in appreciation of how great SiteFlow is, right? So, guys, how much money did you get to participate in this event? No, sorry.
I'm not able to come and see them, but I promised them.
No. One of the questions I'm particularly curious about, because is I understand from what you have been talking about how important SiteFlow is to your business and how it's been supporting your business objectives. However, one thing that I would like to know, to ask you, which is because of your skills and knowledge, and maybe less about SiteFlow in general, but since we're talking about the Industry 4.0 and the smart factory in general, is that something that you, from management's perspectives, is considering how it will influence? Because this is a part of that journey that you're on. But where do you see the future, and how do you see both your relationship with HP, but also what demands from customers and from the market, and how we are going to use everything from big data to augmented reality to all these kind of new buzzwords that are flowing through their spaces these days. Any comments on that one?
Yeah, I'll chip into that one if I may, more just from our perspective. The key to that is collaboration and integration. HP is one tiny part, a very big part, but a tiny part of the solutions and the methodology that we have. In order to get to that Industry 4.0 that you refer to, requires collaboration and integration into all parts of your business. Now,
yes,
that is a crucial element for what we do, and I think there's, if I was to speak openly and bluntly, that's a real challenge for us, is getting those people to talk to each other. Because, from a production perspective, you want best in class. And if that means, you're connecting 5 pieces of, we're doing this right now. We've just spent, just over £1 million in our new book line. It's phase 1. Phase 2 of that requires us to connect up 4 or 5 vendors together, all best in class, and that's all got a link to OneFlow or to SiteFlow. Sorry, I keep using the old term. Sorry, Chris, you can slap me later. But yeah, integrating that into SiteFlow is a crucial part of that. So actually, that integration and collaboration to allow Industry 4.0 to thrive, because there are a few printers that actually push the boundaries of what is capable, and to be able to do that requires our vendors as well as our partners and our supply chain to talk to each other, and sometimes they're not as willing as you'd hope to do that, but we're getting there. So we will keep fighting.
It's one of the sessions I look particularly forward to for tomorrow afternoon is a company that I wouldn't expect to participate in this game is Baldwin. Baldwin, I think, is mostly recognized for inspection cameras and consumables and the acquisition of AMS UV lights a couple of years ago. But they are now introducing a new platform called AMP, and I think it's kind of similar to the Heidelberg Psycheo platform, where you basically do what you're saying, Jon, where you connect the IoT devices, where you connect the machineries in order to have a common way of exchanging data that is not on an XJDF basis, but more on a, I think it's more as on a product basis rather than on a job ticket basis. So I think that you're totally right that it is a challenge for everybody how to do that. Tim and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's also one of the aims with the PrintOS, right? But I think that PrintOS had, to be honest, some limitations when it comes to open to third-party vendors, right? Or how do you see that? Chris, you are off, muted.
Okay, there we go. I think PrintOS is a fantastic platform and adds lots of value, but you're right in that it's relatively closed. There are pockets where it's open to other vendors. From a SiteFlow perspective, we've taken quite a different stance, which is we obviously want to open it up as much as possible, not only for getting order traffic in, but for getting information out. So we have a set of open APIs, and if our customers are looking to do something funky, something bespoke, quite unique, a bit different, want to get integrated with a bookbinding line, or it doesn't matter what the device is, we can talk about how we can expose some APIs that will facilitate that. But what we're seeing more and more is actually PSPs, especially the larger ones, they just want access to all of the data. They want a data pool. And one of the modules of our platform that we have is called Insights, enables customers to be able to get access to it all. So it's a case of, if you want to build dashboards, reports, analytics, forecasts, integrate with other devices, knock yourself out, that's your data set. But wherever possible, we prefer to do it via API because it's then instantaneous. And we're sending real-time HTTP post messages to other devices, and we're also receiving calls back from those devices to update and move jobs on from one status to the next.
So just to follow up on what Jon is saying, is that basically SiteFlow is able to deliver all the data that is needed for the things that comes after SiteFlow. So the problem is more how you connect different brands, different kind of systems from that perspective. Is that what you're saying, Jon?
Yeah, definitely. It's not just one system, one platform. It's multiple systems. Chris knows full just how much work we've done with SiteFlow.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Just how many platforms we have running off the back of that are separated from it, that tap into the data that we've needed. Sometimes you have to be on the bleeding edge of innovation, and we certainly have found ourselves on the bleeding edge of innovation on many occasions to push what the system's capable of, and we've been doing that for a little while now. But certainly, those things get mocked up into SiteFlow as time goes by, and we work closely with the guys from a development perspective, from an R&D perspective, to get stuff into the system that users need as a whole.
Yeah.
Ulrich, the first time I met you, you gave a presentation about some of how you were looking into vendors, and as far as I remember, you said one of the things that was connectivity. Beside another thing that I also think is the ability to understand your business and support your direction. So to understand, not just deliver a box, but also to understand your business. In the past year, where you have experienced what looks from outside to be a rapid growth, how important is all the thing about Industry 4.0 and the IoT thing and all these automation thing? I mean, how do you approach that part of it from your side?
So it is really important. And the first proven example for us to integrate our workflow system, SiteFlow, to a production system, following the investments in the finishing department. So we've chosen the Müller-Martini equipment and their Connect system, which is guiding their assets and is managing the batches in detail, each book within a batch. And this is the building this, let's say, eco landscape for production and for non-productive processes. This is 4.0, and if you are able to link them together, then you are there where you are aiming to go. And we did this really successfully mid last year. So the incoming orders via SiteFlow connected to the Connect system, batch control, each book barcode driven within a batch with a totally production control. Besides, we also entered the SiteQ platform for all the commercial estimations, and now trying to get it done with an ERP system, also cloud-based, open and API-based, to connect all these 4 components together to a complete ecosystem. This is 4.0. This is 4.0 for us, but it's a way to go. Honestly, it's not finished.
I think there's a key point in lots of key points in what Ulrich's sharing with us there. But if you want to integrate with multiple systems, part of the problem is they all want to send and receive data in different ways. So if you've got 10 different systems and working with 10 different customers, everyone wants it their way.
Yeah.
So the approach that we've adopted is to provide a means by which in SiteFlow you can template messages that you send to destination systems. So then means that basically if you want to send information to your MIS or to your binder or to your customer, then ideally you can cut and paste that format into a template in SiteFlow, and using handlebar fields, you can then send messages with the correct payload, structured correctly so that they can receive it. And you can do that most often within minutes.
That's right.
I have one more question because I'm also a little curious. I'm trying to tie this session also together with the sessions that we have tomorrow. And I was just wondering, are any of you guys looking into the use of robots at this time? What about you, Simon?
No, we're not. But like I said before, I would keep that on the cards, because whether it's site flow, whether it's the front end and you're receiving information that's called automatically, or whether it's around the factory and you're trying to make heads or tails of that information to communicate directly to your machinery, whether it be the, in Litho's case, plate setter, the litho press, and then all the remaining finishing equipment, you have to strive for automation. And when something comes along that is robotic enough, or I can maybe figure something out that's robotic enough to do something that we currently do in our finishing department, then yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, we would. But it's interesting actually, because touching on this, obviously, Ulrich, you're mainly a digital producer, aren't you, or exclusively a digital producer?
Yeah, exclusively.
Yeah. So obviously on the litho side of the business, because what we've been mainly focused on here is digital, as in digital production, it makes receiving information from, say, SiteFlow considerably easier. Receiving information to, let's call them analog machines for this discussion, is considerably harder than receiving information to a digital machine. So for me, when you talk about smart factories, etc., it really does mean the replacement of, in all honesty, of analog devices, whether that be litho presses, etc. But yeah, it all needs to combine into one. And as I think I've always said, I don't know if this is a famous saying or not, and I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here, but if you put shit in, you're going to get shit out. So ultimately, the most important point is to make sure, i.e., by using SiteFlow, that you don't put shit in.
Okay, right. I want to know one thing, Simon, and that is when you think about Industry 4.0 and the smart factory. If you want to see the session that my French and Belgium colleagues did yesterday about 4.0 more from a engineering perspective, I think it will also enlighten things that it doesn't really need to be digital printing equipment in order to get that mindset across. And I think that that's part of the thing that we like about these kind of sessions, is that you can learn also how to adapt the electronic mindset or digital mindset into even the analog production side of things. And that is, I'm not trying to teach you anything or educate or something like that. I'm just saying that it was for me very interesting, because I also come from the litho world. So my approach to things have been way more into how you do offset printing rather than being specifically on digital printing. So Ulrich, I have one more question for you, because with the robots, when I was asking it, you have chosen to work with MBO on the binding side. MBO is quite far ahead when it also comes to robots on the binding equipment to take out books from for example, the glue binders and things like that. Was that a part of the equation for you when you were choosing MBO as a supplier, or was that didn't it play any role?
So we've chosen Müller Martini due to different.
Oh, sorry, Müller Martini.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Due to different reasons, but one reason was at this time that we expect a lot of experience and knowledge in automation around the assets. We also thinking about robotics and using robots on the production floor, and we will start to dig deeper after peak. There are some ideas around, and we will discuss with them and further, let's say, engineering companies within these binding areas based in Netherlands or in Europe, to see if it's efficient, if it's beneficial and possible, because it's not as easy as it seems.
Okay. Sorry for asking the question then.
No, it's okay. It's a challenge. It's always good to have challenges.
Morten,
Yeah,
I'll add to that.
that's
I'll
great.
probably I'll share with you robotics in use in the factory, ready for your call tomorrow, integrated into SiteFlow.
Really?
Perfect.
Because that's it brings a whole new level of skill sets into the business. You almost become a technology and a robotics business that requires different people to program those kind of things. But the level of sophistication, automation, and efficiency that delivers is significant. So I'll share a little video with you of robotics in action. So yes, it very much plays a part in in what we want to do. And obviously, Ulrich, as well enough, if you're doing that, come and have a look and
Oh yes.
see that.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
Um,
thanks. I'll come.
obviously, from our side, that plays a huge part. And you talk about that book line. Yes, that's a side of that for us as well. Being able to know which batch you're working on and have complete line, and we've seen this in action, have complete line automation from press to finished book. Is an goal of ours, and to do that, you've got to have some level of automation and robotics involved.
Cool, thank you. I will come over.
John,
Yes.
you have. Oh, sorry.
Stan?
John, you have one problem. You just need to send Ulrich the buy me link now.
There's a consultancy fee coming his way.
Okay, I know. As usual.
That's
10
great.
pints of 10 pints of beer and a few shots.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how it goes, isn't it?
Yes.
Tim, just so you know, we are actually into our second part of the session now. Do you have anything other thing you want to talk in this session, or how do you think we should progress from here?
I need to thank the three. Well, to thank Simon, Uli, and John for participating in this. Thank you, Morten, for, as I said before, for doing these events. They're a great way for the industry to learn more about what everybody else is doing. I think they're invaluable. So continue the hard work. Just to share, if people want further information, refer to our website, the hpsiteflow.com, or the email address gsbsolutions@hp.com. So,
and while you are endorsing our services, I also would like you to go and see on Uli's website, because there's some really nice videos there.
Yes, we did it. Well done.
So thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's thank you very much for the guests. I think that Tim and Chris, will you stay on here, or what is the plan now?
Yes, we can hang around. There's one last thing that I'd like to add, if that's okay. And it's every PSP getting into automation, you can dip your toe in the water. There's some amazing success stories and credentials and testimonials we've heard today, but it all starts with your first brand. Get in touch with us. We'll help you take those first baby steps.
That's cool. Let's